All right, let's get this controversy conversation out of the way right now. Yes, I am wearing an old curtain as a shirt right now. And is that allowed? Is that okay? Hello, class. It's been a while. I mean, not since I've uploaded, at least for my uploading schedule, but since we talked about just some real messy, real person shipping drama. After I made my One Direction Larry video last year, I got a lot of requests to talk about Camren, the most popular ship from the girl group Fifth Harmony. And I said, I see you. I hear you. I will work on that right away. And then like 8 months passed. See, I kind of felt like I had said all I could say on real person shipping, even if it was about different real person ships. So I wasn't sure if I ever wanted to make the video. But then the Fifth Harmony renaissance happened. Also like 4 months ago at this point. Suddenly, 4 whole months ago, my TikTok For You page was inundated with Fifth Harmony songs, memes, and I was obsessed. I really forgot that they were the messiest girl group of 2016. They had me Pokemon going to the polls. They were the moment. I was like, okay, yes, I have to make a video on this right away. The people need to know. And then I got caught up watching Peter Weber's season of The Bachelor, and we all know how that went. So by the time I got around to actually sitting down and doing this video, several people had already talked about Fifth Harmony, and my individuality complex was reeling. Swiftologist did a video on the Fifth Harmony lore and breakup, and I've linked it below. Definitely check them out. But today I wanted to do a little combination of things. I wanted to talk about the rise and fall of Fifth Harmony, and parallel to that, I wanted to discuss the real person ship that was rampant in the Harmonizers fandom. At this point, I'm like a spy getting dragged out of retirement for one last job, just when you thought it was over. But first, a quick word about today's sponsor, Lovehoney. Lovehoney is on a mission to bring sexual happiness to everyone by banishing taboos around sex and intimacy. And today, I am partnering with Lovehoney to get y'all some gift vouchers and maybe some free toys. Here's some of the products I've been using from them that I've really been loving. First, I have the Womanizer Liberty 2, which as you can see is a travel stimulator. It comes with a magnetic travel case, so you can just... And now you can use it anywhere. Next, I have the WeVibe Touch X rechargeable vibrator. It comes with 7 different modes, which can also be customized with 8 levels of intensity. What I love about both of these products is they're both USB rechargeable, they're so quiet, and it all came in like very discreet packaging. Lovehoney is giving away thousands of products this year. When you use the link right here and in the description box, you'll receive your first gift voucher in your email. Once you visit Lovehoney via the link in that email, that gift voucher will be automatically applied to any purchases. And on top of that, you will also be added to weekly giveaways where Lovehoney will continue to give away vouchers and toys throughout the year. Thank you again to Lovehoney for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. So what the hell is a Fifth Harmony anyways? And why are we talking about it so much when really I should be paying the decades of back taxes I owe to the IRS? Well, Fifth Harmony did famously say, "Every day is payday. Swipe my card and I do the nay-nay." And those are words I live by, truly. Fifth Harmony was a girl group formed in 2012 by the substitute teacher of your worst nightmares, Simon Cowell. In the 2010s, Simon Cowell was the founding father of a wave of boy and girl groups formed on both the British and American version of the X Factor, which was a singing competition show that scouted talent and promised the winners a record deal and worldwide fame. But ironically, no one actually remembers the winners of these shows, like ever. Pretty much everyone you would recognize from the X Factor came in 3rd place. Simon's corporate teen idol group era began with a certain group of British boys, One Direction. Even though, as we all know, the boys all auditioned separately, Simon saw potential in them as a boy band marketable to the youths of the world. Separately, their voices were just okay, but together they were honestly not that much better. And honestly, my life would suck. Those boys had pirate pants, Zayn, and a dream. But despite all odds and despite not even winning the X Factor, One Direction took over the world. And more importantly, One Direction made Simon Cowell a lot of money. So Simon Cowell thought to himself, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again until someone stops me. Some of these other groups were pretty successful. There was Little Mix, which was like the girl version of One Direction. There was Emblem 3, which no one but me was a fan of. They were like One Direction except with more white boy rapping. They had a song about spaghetti that just really got me together as a 15-year-old. And in 2012, Simon Cowell was set on making the next big thing, something new, something never seen before. The girl One Direction, but American this time. On the 2012 season of the American X Factor, 5 teenage girls auditioned in the hopes of a solo music career. These were Allie, Camilla, Normani, Dinah Jane, and Lauren. Allie was the oldest to audition, being 19 at the time, but the rest of the girls were all 15, 16 when they got on the X Factor. And just like the One Direction boys, none of the girls made it past the X Factor boot camp, but they were offered a chance to move forward as a girl group. And that's not really a decision they got to think about or have any agency. It was very much presented as either y'all learn to be in a girl group or say goodbye to your dreams. But they always present it as like this very inspiring moment on the show, with what I presume is Roar by Katy Perry playing in the background. I would say one immediate problem you can see looking back at Fifth Harmony on the X Factor is that they never seemed like that good of a team. Even though there were other groups like them, like One Direction and Little Mix, who also were originally solo artists with no chemistry, it felt like other groups were able to harmonize, dare I say? Although it did seem like the Fifth Harmony girls liked each other enough initially, their performances were always like very disjointed, at least to me as an adult looking back. For example, there's this one performance on the X Factor where they all sing We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together by indie obscure artist Taylor Swift. Of course, I can't show you this performance really without the YouTube gods smiting me, but let me tell you, this performance is real wacky. They're completely out of sync with one another. They all seem to be like approaching the song and interpreting it very differently, and one voice sticks out immediately. Miss Camila Cabello. Although Camila was not the most talented in the group by any means, Camila very much always gave Rachel Berry main character energy. She has these sort of infamous vocals, which at times can sound a little whiny, but it was very much in line with like the pop girl sound of the early 2010s, whereas the rest of the girls all had pretty unique voices, more like R&B voices that were being forced by this girl group to fit a very teen pop sound. So even when Camila isn't singing lead on a song, she sticks out like a sore thumb. Someone noticed that. Someone who at the time was a judge on the X Factor.
But I feel like tonight there was only one person that shined, and it didn't click for me tonight.
Demi Lovato.
From my group?
Demi, who was the one that clicked for you?
I think that they should just all figure out you.
Okay,
You can always count on Demi to be at the scene of a crime. But despite Demi and the rest of the judges voicing their doubts about this group, the Harmonizers were already on the rise. People loved these girls. So much so that Fifth Harmony managed to advance to the top 3 on X Factor, much to the shock of other X Factor judge Britney Spears. Although Fifth Harmony does not win the X Factor, as we've established, that really doesn't matter, and they will go on to be far more famous than the actual winner of that season, who, I'm sorry, I didn't look up who actually won before writing this part of the script, so I guess we'll never know. When One Direction also got 3rd place on the X Factor, they were immediately signed and scheduled to begin touring huge arenas in the UK and in America. Fifth Harmony, under that same label, for reasons unclear to me, started their national tour performing in malls, the back of a Sam's Club, any empty parking lot or conference room they could find, really. But this mall tour blessed us with so many great pop culture moments. When it comes to chaotic stan footage, Fifth Harmony really was the gift that kept on giving. In the beginning of their career, Fifth Harmony was definitely marketed to a very young audience. They were getting a lot of play on Radio Disney. Camila was always put in these like giant hair bows. Seriously, what was she hiding under those things? And their first single, Miss Movin' On, was very much the embodiment of like the Just Girly Things page on Tumblr. But then within less than a year of that, while most of the group was still under the age of 18, they got not necessarily an adult rebrand, but a much older teen rebrand. This culminates in their second single, Boss. Every time I hear this song, my pockets just instantly overflow with Cole's cash. They also have other generic pop bops like Sledgehammer and eventually released their debut album Reflection. Also, the initial album cover for Reflection was this, but they got flamed so hard on the internet that they changed it. Cyberbullying. It works. So that is Fifth Harmony. Now, let's take a step back and talk about the Camren ship. We are certainly no stranger to real person ships over on this channel. I have a whole playlist at this point of other videos on the topic if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Larry, Gaylor, the fandom, and just real person shipping generally. But suffice it to say, although I don't think real person shipping comes from negative intent, I think it can very quickly cross over into uncomfortable territory and really negatively impact the people being shipped. And this story is no exception. Camren is the ship name to describe the friendship and alleged romantic relationship between Camila Cabello and Lauren Jauregui. Like many real person ships we've seen previously, some fans just enjoy the idea of these two dating, and it's not really that serious. Others are convinced that these two are being forced to date in secret by their homophobic management, and yet Lauren and Camila are continually dropping hints for their fans to know the gay truth. This theory also has a fun meta spin-off I haven't seen before. Some fringe theorists believe Camila was a Larry theorist herself, because before Camila was famous, she was very active on One Direction stan Twitter. Stars, they're just like us. Some believe that Camila saw what Larry did for Harry and Louis's career, which questionable, but let's just accept this premise for the argument, saw how big Larry was and wanted to make her own Larry by queer-baiting her audience and using the gays to eventually launch her future solo career. Now, while I can respect the premise of using gays for evil, I don't really think this is true. Personally, I think Camila was too busy making racist Tumblr posts prior to her fame to concoct this evil scheme, and that's really besides the point when Camila's a real person, not a character. Real people aren't queer-baiting if they just do things outside of their expected gender norms or do something others perceive as gay. Fellas, is it gay to make eye contact with another woman? The answer is yes. But the long and short of it is, this Camren relationship is the most commonly theorized and talked about ship amongst Fifth Harmony, and I will try my best to explain the lore of this ship. However, I will say, unlike Larry or Gaylor, the Camren shippers seem much more scattered. I had to struggle to find master posts compiling all of the top Camren evidence, and even then I didn't find a single PowerPoint presentation. It's like if you're gonna speculate about the sexual orientation of two teenagers you've never met, at least be organized, you know? But I digress. As we know, when the group was initially formed, these girls were all strangers, but they did all develop some level of friendship. Through all of the girls' tweets, Tumblr posts, live streams, it was pretty apparent that Camila and Lauren were two of the closest friends in the group, which in retrospect is not that surprising. They're similar in age, they both grew up in Miami from Cuban families, and they were also both just two chronically online teenagers. Suffice to say, they had a lot in common, and fans just really enjoyed seeing them interact with one another. It's also perhaps worth noting that this is the perfect time to be a girl group stan, really because it's right when social media is forming. Camila and Lauren themselves are only 15 and 16 at this point. People don't have social media managers the way they do now, and celebrities who are online like Fifth Harmony are more accessible to their fans than they ever have been and probably ever will be. So the Harmonizers are watching as Camila and Lauren tweet playful things back and forth to each other, and one fan replies, "OMG, you guys are so cute, lol. Hashtag ship Lamilla." Lauren replies back, "It's Camren, yo," which objectively speaking is the better ship name, but I don't think either of them could have predicted the chain reaction that this would set off within the fandom. By the day, more and more fans began compiling each time they even briefly made eye contact. There are compilations of Camren moments with hundreds of thousands, even millions of views. Much like how the Larry fandom associated blue and green with their ship, the sun and the moon is like a central running theme in the Camren ship, but unfortunately, unlike Larry, there are no BDSM teddy bears involved, so that's kind of a disappointment. Instead, we have things like this video from 2013, where Lauren posted a black and white video where she comes out as a unicorn who's in love with the dragon. And when you think of dragons, you think Camila Cabello. I love it when you call me Dragonita. Also, people get mad at Lauren because the format of this unicorn video is the same as a lot of viral videos at the time where teens would talk about their bullying and depression experiences. You had to be there. We don't have time. Another often cited piece of evidence is the bunk bed video. While on tour, Fifth Harmony filmed a little behind the scenes vlog on their tour bus. Normani, Allie, and Dinah Jane are all talking towards the front when out comes Camilla with what people describe as really red lips, as if she's fresh off a makeout sesh. Camilla says that she wants to read in her bunk bed, but come on, she's holding her book upside down. How does that make sense? Oh, I think that's what happened there. The only explanation is that she's secretly with Lauren in the back bunk. But that's not all. Later in the video, you can briefly see what looks like Camilla snacking on some cheese in the background, the most romantic of snacks. FBI audio experts are also convinced that they can hear these two girls moaning in the background, while the rest of their friends are literally like 5 feet away from them, filming unbothered, just watching a movie. This video has been analyzed down to the reflection of Camilla's bunk bed in like the wood panels on the side. And these are 17-year-old girls that are being analyzed in this video. 17. The Camren ship also very quickly becomes much more sexual, with people photoshopping pictures of Camilla and Lauren kissing, and smut fanfiction of these two actual minors becomes a widespread phenomenon. Although all of the girls in Fifth Harmony originally had a lot of fun teasing this Camren relationship, Lauren starts to voice her discomfort with all of this as early as 2013. In one Tumblr post, Lauren writes, "I hate that people assume random things about me because I reblog something. If I see a picture or gif of anything on my dash that I like, I'm gonna reblog it. If you want to follow me because you like my blog, thank you so much, but please don't abuse the fact that I'm genuinely sharing a huge part of my life with you guys. I didn't get another Tumblr because I want you guys to know who I am and understand me on a deeper level than people who don't actually know me. I'm not a lesbian. I just appreciate that girls can be just as hot as guys. It's sad that I even have to justify this, but I need to because I'm over it. And honestly, don't go showing my dad my blog either, because how the hell would you feel about that being done to you? It's not funny. It's extremely obnoxious. I'm sorry if this comes off as rude or mean, but it's a little disappointing when almost all of my asks and mentions on Twitter are clogged with negative comments or obnoxious assumptions." In another Tumblr post, after someone changes her Wikipedia to say that Lauren is bisexual, despite Lauren not saying anything about her sexual orientation to that point, Lauren says, "Are you freaking kidding me? Do you think that's funny? Like, I just like to thoroughly inform you of the fact that you're not the only one who searches this up on Wikipedia. And honestly, that's messed up. Like, I don't understand. Does no one grasp the concept of limits? I'm not bisexual either. Get over it." I am going to say this again. Lauren is 17. 17 when she's writing this. And even if she was older at the time, still awful. If the shippers are right, they're forcing her out of the closet, sending information to her family when she's publicly stated she comes from a conservative Christian background. Like, there's no possible positive outcome out of doing any of that. It's just mean whether Lauren is queer or straight. Although Camilla is also presumably inundated with these kinds of messages, Camilla really doesn't speak out about Camren. Perhaps that's because Camilla is the most famous member of Fifth Harmony by far, and Camren is just a smaller part of her fan base at large, or Camilla just prefers to ignore it. We really don't know. But as we move into 2015, things begin to shift between Camilla and Lauren, and Camilla and the rest of Fifth Harmony. At this point, we are years into Camilla just absolutely wrecking harmonies in Fifth Harmony.
Red, 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 loving him. Red, 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 loving him.
It's not just that Camilla had a unique voice. All of Fifth Harmony had unique voices compared to one another. It's that Camilla was the one consistently getting solo parts on songs. Oftentimes, she was the only one with her mic actually on during live performances. And Camilla, good God, she refused to blend her voice and actually harmonize. Of course, we don't know if the group management were the ones constantly pushing Camilla to the front, how much of it was Camilla herself, but needless to say, this divide between the group was leading to much more visible disconnect between the rest of the girls and Camilla. Lauren included. And it probably also didn't help that Blondie, Miss Taylor Swift, was throwing surprise birthday parties for Camilla and not inviting the rest of the Fifth Harmony girls to her 1989 Avengers Assemble girl squad at the time.
Taylor, my friend Taylor Swift, it's crazy. She invited me over because freaking cool. Yeah, she was basically, we were texting and she asked me what I was gonna do for my birthday, and at the time I wasn't doing anything. I was just like eating with my family. She's like, oh, well, you can't do nothing for your birthday. Come over.
In November of 2015, Camilla does her first solo collab outside of the group with Lyle the Crocodile himself, Shawn Mendes. Not only are there rumors at this time that Camilla might actually be going solo, there are also rumors that Shawn and Camilla are dating. But don't worry, folks, this is all PR for their new song. Just like any of the other public relationships Lauren and Camilla have had during this time, these simply do not count in the eyes of the shippers. And unfortunately, there was already a very vocal group of people who insist that Shawn Mendes is gay because he knows who Cher is and is suspiciously nice for a straight man. For years, people were convinced that Shawn Mendes and Camilla were a PR relationship. But I feel like over time, more people have come around to realizing that Shamila just is that couple in front of you in line at the amusement park. They were just a happy couple, if not slightly cringy. And is that a crime? But again, for Camren shippers, the appearance of Shawn Mendes really only confirms their preconceived ideas about Camilla and Lauren. As we move into 2016, there is even more just physical distance between Camilla and the rest of the group. Just look at these meet and greet pictures from Fifth Harmony's 2016 tour. I'll give her this, Camilla was ahead of her time with the social distancing. It also looks like Camilla had her own management and legal team separate from the rest of the girls in 2016. Dina LaPolte, an entertainment lawyer, began renegotiating the contract between Fifth Harmony and their record company during this time, but it's alleged that Dina only represented Dinah Jane, Allie, Normani, and Lauren, not Camilla. Meanwhile, Camilla is real bummed because she missed out on the song of the summer. In the summer of 2016, Closer by the Chainsmokers featuring Halsey drops and goes on to be one of the top streamed songs on Spotify ever. We all know my thoughts on this song. It immediately sends me back to nights spent in dingy basements filled with sweaty drunk teenagers in college, and yet it's still a bop. But Camilla was the original feature on this song, and actually the demo with Camilla's verse is up on YouTube now. I gotta say though, after listening to both, that's Halsey's song. Don't get me wrong, Camilla has a great voice, but that hint of Tumblr energy Halsey gives is what makes that song for me. Camilla loved the song and could sense the bop forming, but she was not allowed to do the feature because the song was set to release right around when Fifth Harmony was dropping their own album, and the label did not want Camilla to overshadow her own group's success, for once. So perhaps as a consolation prize, really just my speculation here, Camilla did get to do a much worse feature on Bad Things with Machine Gun Kelly in October of 2016. I cannot overstate how much the tension is just palpable between the Fifth Harmony girls at this point.
Captain Cabello.
Yeah.
Do you have any tour plans happening soon?
Well,
There's this one infamous interview where Normani struggles to find nice things to say about Camilla.
And then Camilla, she is, let's see, Camilla, very quirky.
quirky.
Yeah, very quirky. Cute. Quirky.
Cool.
Which leads to Normani getting just swarmed with racist messages from Camilla fans. Unfortunately not an uncommon occurrence within the Fifth Harmony fandom either. But back to what's going on the gay side of things, the most important side of things. As I've said, Lauren and Camilla's friendship appears to be on the rocks at this point. But that could just be management forcing them to appear as though they hate each other to throw off fans who are hot on the scent. You never know. Except Lauren has been spotted several times with another girl, Laucy. Laucy and Lauren were childhood best friends. Although Laucy was not a celebrity herself at the time, she was the daughter of a famous singer, and because of her affiliation with a Fifth Harmony member, she was recognized within the Fifth Harmony fandom. Lauren had been seen visiting Laucy at college and going to classes with her in between her tour dates. They went to Coachella together, and as far as the world knew, Lauren and Laucy were besties. That is, until November of 2016. At that time, Lauren attended the wedding of her aunt and uncle and brought Laucy as a guest. According to Lauren, her and Laucy were a little drunk and went over to the photo booth to take some pictures, including this picture. Lauren, like I said, is drunk. doesn't think too much about it. However, before Lauren can really think about what's happening, Lauren's aunt posts the entire photo booth album to Facebook. Because there is a small group of Fifth Harmony fans who follow Lauren's family and check for these kind of things like behind the scene pics, fans immediately get a hold of this picture and begin posting it to Twitter. In that moment, Lauren's heart sank. Because it's true, Lauren was queer. She had been in an on-again, off-again relationship with Laucy, and she was not ready for the world to know this about her. At first, even though she knows it's already online, Lauren hopes that maybe this can just be contained to like the super fans on Twitter. Maybe this can pass and she won't have to face this. But then Perez Hilton, in classic Perez Hilton fashion unfortunately, outs Lauren, and these pictures get picked up by every online news source. And yes, Perez Hilton has responded to accusations that he outed Lauren unfairly, and he doesn't think he did anything wrong, last I heard, so good God. Several years after this, Lauren did a podcast interview with Becky G where she talks about this experience, and truly watching it, my heart breaks for her having to tell the story back. Celebrity or not, being outed before you're not ready to even face that internally is horrific, partially as a way to reclaim this horrible experience and partially to speak out about the bleak politics that was November 2016. Lauren then publishes an open letter to Trump voters in which she identifies as a bisexual Cuban-American woman who is proud of her identity. Again, it's so unfair that these were the circumstances with which Lauren came out as queer, and it certainly could not have been made easier with the absolute mess that would occur with Fifth Harmony in December of 2016. To start the chaos, on December 14th, Lauren is caught by TSA with, some green grass in her carry-on bag. Free our girl, she did nothing wrong. On December 19th, the Fifth Harmony Twitter account releases a Notes app letter. The things the Notes app has done for pop culture needs to be studied, but I digress. They post a letter stating that after 4.5 years of being together, we have been informed via her representatives that Camilla has decided to leave Fifth Harmony. But who is gonna hump Ty Dolla $ign in their live performances now? Before we can even figure out the logistics of that, Camilla releases her own letter in response, stating that she's so proud of her work Fifth Harmony did together, but she was shocked to read the statement, which implied Camilla never told the girls directly she wanted to leave. Camilla said, "The girls were aware of my feelings through long, much-needed conversations about the future that we had during tour." The Fifth Harmony girls release another statement. At 11:25 p.m., we're getting messy. They say that the last thing we want to do is engage in a battle of we said, she said, but we've let our story play out in press and on socials for too long. So to our harmonizers who we care so deeply about, we want you to hear everything from us. Unedited, not manipulated, just us to you. They then describe how they had been making efforts for months to communicate with Camilla about the future of Fifth Harmony. It had even gone so far as hiring an on-site therapist to work with the group, who Camilla allegedly refused to see. These lengthy conversations Camilla mentioned in her letter never happened according to the girls in Fifth Harmony, and instead they were just informed mid-November that Camilla's last group performance would be December 18th for the Jingle Ball. At this point, the girls are just fully going at it on Twitter. Meanwhile, that same day, an audio leaks of Lauren breaking down while talking to Allie about the working conditions of Fifth Harmony at that time.
Decisions on a regular basis to fuck us over, to make us literal slaves, like literally slaves, Allie. We're doing fucking labor every day and we see nothing.
The very next day, an article from the Daily Beast further describes the insane pressure and alleged horrible working conditions the Fifth Harmony ladies were put in. They could not, in fact, work from home. The article, among other things, describes how these women were worked to the bone, constantly breaking down from exhaustion, which is seemingly confirmed by the countless videos we have of the girls crying or breaking down on stage throughout their times together. Dinah Jane describes having to watch her great-grandmother be buried over FaceTime because their touring schedule would not allow for her to attend the funeral in person. Dina LaPolte, the lawyer who represented the four Fifth Harmony girls, would also later go on to say that the Fifth Harmony contract was one of the worst she had seen in the music business. It was never a secret to Fifth Harmony stans that the women were in draconian contracts. Even before all this went down, the girls were very clear about that much.
And I was wondering Read your contracts.
But that's 3 albums in less than 3 years. What keeps you guys going? That's a schedule that you guys are keeping.
Quite. A contract? Just kidding. Oh, wow, I wish that was a joke.
I knew that was coming.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Okay, but it's fine.
And it was also very apparent to the public, at least, that Camilla had aspirations as a solo artist from the beginning. So when you put those two facts together, kind of makes you wonder whether Camilla and Lauren are gay together. Yes, we're still talking about this. So after all of this is out in the news, Camilla has left. Lauren and Camilla are not publicly on good terms at all, and Lauren is now out as a bisexual woman in a relationship with a woman who is not Camilla. Needless to say, the Camren ship needed to do a bit of reevaluating. Maybe management only allowed Lauren to come out, and Camilla was so upset about it that she up and left. Maybe Lauren's relationship with another woman is just a cover because the homophobic management doesn't want us to know about Camren, so they put Lauren in a different queer relationship. No, listen, it all makes sense. Some people point out that, hey, Laucy is known for kissing other gal pals from time to time. So perhaps this kiss between Lauren and Laucy was just a kiss between two friends. No, really, we've swung so far around for this like believed queer relationship that we've gone right back to homophobic invalidations of like this real queer relationship in front of us. There is still hope for some Camren shippers in 2017 that maybe Lauren will leave Fifth Harmony too, and then they can reveal that they don't actually hate each other, and actually them dating other people and getting in messy Twitter fights with one another was all for the sake of hiding their love story. But for the most part, the Camren ship really fizzles out over time, perhaps because Lauren being openly queer at this point kind of undermines the whole homophobic management forcing them to be in the closet theory. I would also say it's just very apparent that Lauren and Laucy did actually date. Lauren has spoken out now about how this was her and Lucy's first queer relationship, and like a lot of people's just first relationship period. It's not always the healthiest thing. I wasn't able to find this video personally, but some fans said that at one point Lucy's phone was hacked, and a video was leaked from that hack where Laucy was burning pictures of her and Lauren after one of their breakups. In 2017, Lauren and Laucy did a romantic photo shoot where they made out, even though they had already broken up by the time these photos were taken, which is unfortunately the most sapphic thing I've ever heard of. And Lauren continues to speak out about her discomfort with Camren shippers, saying they're invasive and scary. The final nail in the Camren coffin is in 2020 when Lauren goes on Becky G's podcast. This is the same episode where Lauren talks about her trauma with being outed, and if you have the time, I really do recommend listening to the full episode. Becky G and Lauren seem like lovely women, and Lauren is very well-spoken, very vulnerable in it, but specifically, Lauren talks about how fans constantly shipped her and Camilla, and that made her incredibly uncomfortable as a kid in the closet at the time.
People thought Camilla and I were like into each other. And that made me so uncomfortable, like disgustingly uncomfortable, because I was queer, but she was not. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel like a predator, essentially. Because
it's invasive.
It made me feel like a predator because of the type of clips people would put together and the type of stories people would write and the type of stuff. I was always the aggressor, and I was always the one turning her, and I was always the one who was like the masculine energy in the scenario. And it made me very uncomfortable because that's not how I identify. And that's not to say that that's wrong to identify like that. Like, daddy, get your shit. You know what I mean? Like, do your thing. But I did not identify that way. And I also did not have that connection with her. Camilla and I were just very good friends at that time.
To this day, this perception of Lauren as this aggressor impacts Lauren's ability to just flirt with or even talk to other women platonically. There is already this stereotype that has impacted me as a non-celebrity and lots of other queer women where we're made to feel like we're just attracted to every girl we meet, whether they're straight or not, that queer women are just out to turn people or harass them. I can't imagine overcoming those stereotypes and coming to terms with your sexual orientation on top of having this parasocial depiction of yourself as a queer person out in the public that you just have no control over. And this isn't even to villainize anybody, because I really do think that Camren shippers were just mostly closeted teens themselves who wanted to feel validated in a media landscape where queer representation is so hidden. The central pillar of the Camren ship, like many other real person ships, is this looming management, this homophobic management. Lauren and Camilla want to be out, but they can't. So by that logic, it's helping Lauren to compile all the time she appears queer. It's not forcing her to come out. It's forcing the management to let her come out. But I, for one, take Lauren at her word that that wasn't reality. On top of being overworked, underpaid, and losing a real friend in Camilla, Lauren's sexuality was headline news when she never wanted that to be the case. And she was so young. She was so young when all of this happened. That's why when we talked about like the Camren evidence, it wasn't really about like debunking it or lifting it up. That's not what I'm trying to achieve here. It's that someone's sexual orientation and coming out was turned into everybody's business except for the actual people at the center of it all. That's why when Lauren says nothing happened between her and Camilla, or Louis denies Larry, or Taylor denies Gaylor, I just believe them. Because if I'm wrong, it's not my business anyways. So where does that leave us? Well, Camilla is off to focus on her solo career, and she loves it when Shawn Mendes calls her señorita. Fifth Harmony releases a final album with the remaining 4 girls, and their first performance as a foursome, they symbolically yeet a Camilla body double off the stage. One thing I will always love about Fifth Harmony is that they are physically incapable of just having a normal performance. They could never get it together, and I lived for it. And in 2018, Fifth Harmony announces that they will be going on a hiatus and focusing on solo projects. All this to say, Fifth Harmony was doomed from the start. They were 5 aspiring solo artists who were worked to death in a group that very obviously never wanted to be a group. They had no control over the songs they made, their image. Camilla has also since spoken out about how she was really uncomfortable with the sexualization she dealt with being in that group from when she was just 15 years old. It also almost feels like Camilla was actively pitted against the other 4 girls, just with the obvious preferential treatment she received throughout her time in the group. On top of the Camren ship straining the friendship, these group dynamics made the girls fight with one another, perhaps instead of fighting against the management that put them in an unwinnable situation. But at the very least, with the recent Fifth Harmony renaissance on TikTok and the girls putting out more solo work, it does seem like the girls are on better terms with one another and are able to look back on their time as a group more fondly, despite what they've been through. Also importantly, Normani is finally coming out with her album, and the album cover is such a slay. So give these women their flowers. I mean, the amount they've given to pop culture just with that red carpet tank entrance alone, they were Coachella 2015, and their vibes can simply never be recreated. Folks, that is all I got today. I hope y'all found this interesting. I hope you don't mind that it was a shorter video. I'm going to be traveling in June, and I am determined to stick to at least uploading once a month because it's embarrassing that uploading once a month is like a struggle for me, but we're doing it. As usual, if you want to see more of me, I stream on Twitch a couple times a week and I upload the VODs of that to my second channel. I also upload monthly bonus videos on Patreon for the people who support me over there. And if you're not interested in any of that, that's cool. That's fine, I guess. You could, however, if you liked this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.